On today's Smart 7, Syria's new leaders promise peaceful transition, Reeves warns of Iron Fist on waste, and lots more. It's Wednesday, 11th of December, it's National Mountain Day, and happy birthday, Hayley Steinfeld.
The Smart 7. It's news, but
not the news.
Israel continued waves of airstrikes on key Syrian military locations on Tuesday with the intention of wiping out strategic stockpiles and limiting the risk of weapons falling into the hands of Islamic extremists. They've also targeted the Syrian naval fleet and are setting up a new buffer zone in southern Syria to protect the Golan Heights. The attacks came as the new Syrian rebel leadership spoke to Sky News in an attempt to reassure Western countries they have nothing to fear from the new government. In the US, President Joe Biden says his administration's Middle East strategy, including US troops on the ground in Syria, is paying off.
For the first time ever, neither Russia nor Iran nor Hezbollah could defend this abhorrent regime in Syria. And this is a direct result of the blows that Ukraine, Israel have delivered upon their own self-defense with unflagging support of the United States.
UK PM Keir Starmer was in the Middle East on Monday, visiting Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates on a trade mission, and he stopped in Cyprus on his way home to thank British troops for their peacekeeping efforts.
This year, I think, particularly from this base, has been extraordinarily busy because the challenges have been intense. When I was making decisions, I knew that you would step up, and that's because I had complete faith in you.
The new realities of a regime change in Syria have been unfolding slowly since Sunday's dramatic events in Damascus. The HTS group, which led the rebel uprising, is currently listed as a terrorist organisation by many countries, including the UK and the US, but the United Nations signalled on Tuesday that it may remove them from the terror list if they can successfully form a transitional government. That may also see Syrians returning home, with knock-on effects on small boat crossings and the wave of migration across Europe. In the meantime, the UK signed a new agreement with Germany on Tuesday, which is aimed at tackling the people smuggling gangs. German ambassador to the UK, Miguel Berger, is hopeful it will have an impact.
If we put enough pressure on these people smuggling networks, if we also cooperate in the countries of transit and origin, I think we can jointly put a lot of pressure on these criminal networks.
Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philps is unconvinced and sounds like he's still upset about the Rwanda scheme.
It certainly won't do any harm, but it would be very naive to assume that this will fix the problem, because the National Crime Agency themselves have said you need a deterrent to stop small boats crossing the channel. And of course we had a deterrent, the Rwanda scheme, which the Labour government cancelled before it even started.
Chancellor Rachel Reeves has been having a busy week already, and it's only Wednesday. Monday saw her in Brussels addressing the Eurozone finance ministers, the first time a British Chancellor has done so since Brexit. Then on Tuesday she announced a new plan to cut down on waste spending. That might sound like, but is definitely not, austerity. She says that government departments are to be asked to find 5% efficiency savings in next year's budgets. It's part of a wider spending review which aims to look at prioritising spending that will get the UK closer to achieving Keir Starmer's 6 milestones for growth.
I have no doubt that we can find efficiency savings within government spending of 5%, and I'm determined to do so, because it's through finding those efficiency savings that we'll have the money to spend on the priorities of the British people.
A new report from the Centre for Media Monitoring found that GB News is responsible for half of all news coverage of Muslims over the last 2 years, but that most of it was negative in tone. The report says the channel's focus on Muslims was excessive, bordering on obsession, sparking calls for a review from regulator Ofcom. GB News' biggest star, Reform Party leader Nigel Farage, was making headlines again on Tuesday as he announced that Holly Valence's husband, billionaire property developer Nick Candy, had defected from the Tories to join Reform. He was immediately appointed treasurer, and he and Nigel set about trying to entice Elon Musk to go ahead with a potential donation to the party.
If Elon wants to give and it can be given legally, then of course Reform would be very interested in that.
Elon Musk is very supportive of what Reform is trying to do, and we've got good connections with him. Nick's got good connections with him as well.
He's messaged me this morning.
Still to come on today's Smart 7, Liverpool on top in Europe, and we're inching closer to that Gavin and Stacey Christmas special. Right after this.
At Leidos, a brilliant mind is smart, but a brilliant team is smarter. A ship that finds enemy subs is smart, but an autonomous fleet, that's smarter. Defending against cyber attacks? Smart. Stopping attacks before they start? Smarter. And using AI tools is smart. But integrating trusted mission AI into your technology is smarter. We're not just making technology solutions in national security and health. We're making smart smarter. Leidos.
Welcome back.
Tuesday night saw more Champions League with Aston Villa, Liverpool and Celtic all in action. This was match night 6 of the new format, and Liverpool were in Italy hoping to maintain a perfect win rate against Girona. Celtic faced off against Dinamo Zagreb and came away with a goalless draw, while Aston Villa got a late winner in Germany to finish 3-2 against RB Leipzig. Liverpool picked up a 1-0 win on the road, which puts them top of the table, with 6 wins from 6, but manager Arne Slot wasn't pleased with his team.
No, not at all. Well, yeah, I was happy with the result, let that be clear, but the performance was not of our standards, I would say. You have to give credits to Girona as well. They've made it really difficult for every team that has played here.
It's been 5 years since we've checked in on Gavin and Stacey, but this Christmas Day at 9 p.m. we're due to get the final episode. The Christmas special written by Ruth Jones and James Corden promises to tie up the many loose ends from the last special, including what happened when Nessa proposed to Smithy. The action for this year takes place in Essex, and new photos from set emerged on Tuesday, but we still haven't seen a trailer. Rob Brydon is back as Uncle Bryn, and he reckons this really is the end of the road.
It's done. You don't survive a chemical explosion. No, it's finished.
It's not often that the world of cinema gets excited about the story of a Hungarian architect, but new movie The Brutalist has critics in a frenzy before it's even released. It got a 13-minute standing ovation at the Venice Film Festival, and it's already picked up 7 Golden Globe nominations, even though it doesn't hit cinemas until January. The more than 3-hour epic stars Adrian Brody and Oscar nominee Felicity Jones in a classic tale of an immigrant coming to America. The good news is, although it's almost 200 minutes long, they have provided an intermission so you can grab some snacks. Maybe it's not so brutal after all.
There was a war on, and yet many of the sites of my projects had survived. My buildings were devised to endure such erosion of shoreline.
I brought you all out here to join me in looking forward toward the future.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.